Welcome back. Talks are understood to be advancing between Manchester United and PSG over the signing of midfielder Manuel Ugarte, and Flex is taking a look at who his competition is in that Manchester United midfield.
Yeah, of course, a big, massive signing for Manchester United should this get over the line. Manchester United really wanting to improve in that midfield area. But let's take a look at exactly why Manchester United are in for Manuel Ugarte of PSG. We can see here a comparison between himself and Casemiro per 90 minutes last season. And just look at the interceptions if we start there. 1.6 per game, higher than Casemiro's 0.7. So in terms of breaking up play, it's very much a skill set that is very familiar with Manuel Ugarte. More tackles per 90. He's dribbled past less as well. We have seen that side of Casemiro's game, especially last season, where opponents would try to dribble past him and get away from him and usually have quite a lot of success. That was not like that in the first season, but that was somewhere where Casemiro did quite struggle in the last season. In terms of ground duels won, again, very combative. Near enough 6 there for Manuel Ugarte to Casemiro's 4. The amount of times he loses possession. Now, you could argue that Casemiro sometimes actually plays quite advanced for Manchester United, putting crosses into the box, trying to thread passes through the lines, which maybe isn't his best part of his game, but he did that quite a lot for Manchester United. But again, Manuel Ugarte, a lot safer in possession as well. And in terms of successful dribbles, in terms of carrying the ball, Ugarte stands out in that situation as well. I think what we can clearly see here is the type of player Manchester United will be going for is somebody who wants to win the ball back, someone who's good at 1v1s and duels and can also carry the ball through midfield. A lot of times Manchester United last year had very big open spaces. We saw Jamie Carragher talk so well about some of the problems in Manchester United's midfield, of how open they were, how susceptible they were to counter-attacks. And I think the thinking behind this transfer, should it happen, is to be able to plug those holes in terms of alongside Kobbie Mainoo, who is fantastic on the ball, not necessarily one for breaking play up and covering big areas in midfield. Bruno Fernandes, you want him operating at the top end of the pitch, making things happen as he has done ever since he's come to Manchester United. And that leaves this space whereby Casemiro has been filled with that void of, can you plug that hole for Manchester United? Can you hold down the fort while Erik ten Hag wants to play on the front foot, vacate the midfield, keep teams penned in, and if we do have a counter-attack, get back in quickly and cover the ground. And Manuel Ugarte, as we can see, clearly fits that bill. So if he does end up at Old Trafford with the options that they do have with Bruno Fernandes, with Casemiro as well, and Kobbie Mainoo, what sort of impact do you think he could have, Liv? Do you think he could be the answer?
Yeah, I actually do think he could be the answer. You mentioned it there about, the space he can cover. He is a number 6, and I think defensively is where he's made an impression and why he's probably getting the move to Man United. But he's second for possession 1 in the final third in the whole of Ligue 1. And only last season, it was Palhinha that averaged more tackles across all 5 of Europe's top leagues. Manchester United last season were just far too easy to play through. Like we say, what Casemiro has done, he's been absolutely brilliant across his whole career. There's no denying that. But he just doesn't have the legs anymore to get around the pitch. And that's something that Manuel Ugarte is brilliant at. His former manager in Uruguay said he has 7 lungs. He never stops running, which is something that Manchester United definitely need. And before you all come at me, this is not me saying he's like N'Golo Kante, all right? Just
sure?
Is it right? Just to clarify, it's absolutely not. But Luis Enrique said when he managed him at PSG, he said he reminds me of that sort of player that doesn't stop running, that gets around the pitch, that is so difficult to get past because he's always there. He's always in that space that you want to get into. So, yeah, again, to clarify, it's not me saying it. Luis Enrique just says he's like that. But I genuinely believe with the options that Manchester United have, he would be the perfect partner for Kobbie Mainoo.
He's an in-your-face footballer, isn't he? What about Ugarte and Casemiro playing together? Is that going to be a thing?
Yeah, it could be. I think it depends on the games that they have. If they're playing, either Man City or a Liverpool, one of those top teams.
Is that a with Kobbie Mainoo? Or not? Because I feel like Kobbie Mainoo starts every single game.
I think Kobbie Mainoo, he's proven that he can also play different roles. It would be what we see when they want to be a bit more robust in midfield. Like you said last season, they were so easy to get through because Casemiro was asked to do 2 jobs. And maybe in previous years, he would have been able to do that. But we saw similar to when they faced Fulham the gaps were closed. You know, if Ugarte is in that midfield, I think he will just accommodate that. Also, he can learn from one of the best DMs that's ever played the game, and he can give him some rest in the other competitions that they're playing in. So I think it just gives them another option to, you know, succeed in the trophies that they're trying to win.
Sometimes I feel like we forget how young Kobbie Mainoo is, and you kind of think you want to protect him a little bit. He needs the time and space to be able to make mistakes. He's going to have peaks and troughs in his season and in his career as he develops into the player that he's going to be. So he might sometimes need taking out the firing line and United having a little bit of extra steel in that midfield. Erik ten Hag talking to the media a little bit later on, 4 o'clock. We'll bring that to you on Sky Sports News.
Before the break, we said that a number of European clubs were exploring the potential of a deal to sign Jadon Sancho in the final days of this transfer window. Well, now we can report Juventus have a firm interest in signing Sancho. They're exploring the conditions of a deal. Crucially, talks over personal terms are thought to have taken place. Now, remember, Sancho has 2 years left on his contract, a significant contract when you consider the wages, with the option of a further deal. Juventus, one of the clubs trying to do a deal at the start of this window, couldn't meet the valuation which United had then, which is around £40 million. We're not sure whether United have budged on that with the days ticking down until the end of the transfer window.
OK, Ross, does he have to get out of United?
I think so, yes. I think it's very hard to come back from what happened last year. Understand there about the evaluation that they had at the start of the transfer window. I would expect Man United maybe to compromise a little bit here just to get him out of the club. I think he's got to go. He's too talented to sit there and not play. I think for himself, for Man United, even for England, I think it'll be a good move if he does move on.
So, James Savundra, Tim Thornton with us this evening. So, Mikel Merino, give us some numbers.
Deal agreed in principle now between Arsenal and Real Sociedad. We understand the total fee in the region of €38.5 million for the Spaniard, who's out of his contract at the end of the season. Initial fee €33.5 million, further €5 million in performance-related add-ons. He's agreed a 4-year contract with the option of a further year as well. He's 28 years of age, and this transfer will be finalised subject to him passing a medical. It would be their second signing of this window after bringing Ricardo Calafiori earlier on, the defender. They're strengthening in midfield. This would be the 19th defensive goalkeeper or midfielder that Arsenal brought in under Mikel Arteta and Edu out of the 25 players they bought in that time. You can see Mikel Arteta trying to build that foundation for success. They look to go one step closer this year to winning silverware.
Promised the first chance to see Erik ten Hag's news conference. He's been taking questions from the media ahead of Manchester United's trip to Brighton this weekend. They face each other in the Saturday lunchtime kickoff.
Let's start the team for this weekend. Anyone unavailable? And what's the situation with Victor Lindelof? There's a bit of confusion about his situation at the moment.
There's no confusion. And he has an issue on his toe, so hopefully he can return quickly. But he's not available for the weekend. Whereas also we have some, but I think we know them: Tyro Malacia, Rasmus Højlund. They are not available as well.
There's obviously a lot of
Luke
talk.
Shaw, of course.
There's obviously a lot of talk at the moment about transfers with the deadline approaching. Manuel Ugarte has been spoken about a lot. Are you hoping to do business before the window?
Just be patient. Just sit, wait, and we're working, of course, very hard, and we will always try to make the best squad possible. So we have a couple of days. The approach will always be improve. So as long as we have the opportunity, we will look for it. But in this moment, I can't tell any news.
Have you been happy with the business so far?
Yes, I'm very pleased. It is showing we're going in the right direction. We know as a club we have to catch up, but I think it shows our ambition, the way we want to go. So I think we have done good business, really very good players, quality players who will contribute to our squad, to our quality of the squad.
Erik, you talked there about patience. I know the Ugarte deal has been a deal that both the club and the player have to be very patient about. Does it show the merits of that approach, assuming you do complete this signing in the next couple of days?
As I said, when we have news, we will bring it. But you know already the answer, and so I don't understand the question.
What about Jadon Sancho? Obviously, he was not selected in the squad last week. Is he back and available for selection? Do you expect him to be involved in the squad this weekend?
We will see. So we have a squad, and I hope we will have a squad with double positioning. And when we go into the season after the 1st of September, and that means also that you can't select all the players for a game, but we need all the players throughout the season, because this will be a season, the survival of the fittest. And of course, we have to manage it, but also the attitude of the players is very important, and that sometimes they will be disappointed, but they have to deal with it, because you don't win with 11, and you win as a squad. And so the prizes, they are divided next May. So till then, we need all the players in the squad, and all the players highly motivated and to contribute. And that is also not an expectation, no, it's a demand from the club and for me as a manager for the squad. The squad is, and the team is always more important than every individual.
There was a lot of praise for Josh Zirkzee making such an impact last week against Fulham. How excited are you by him as a prospect, and given the fact that he's got somebody like Ruud van Nistelrooy there to look up to and be a mentor to him as well? What are you hoping for from him?
It's very pleasing that a player who is a striker, that he scores his first goal in his first game. Because that will give him the confidence, but it gives the surrounding confidence. So very pleased that it's happened. And I give the comparison with last year with Rasmus Højlund when he scored in his first game against Brighton, and then the VAR looked for 5 minutes, and then they came to the conclusion: the ball from Rashford crossed the line in his assist. And then he had to wait 3 months for his first Premier League goal. So it helps absolutely. He scores his first goal, give him confidence, and give us confidence as a team. Very good process. So.
Last two, Robin and then Nicky. Eric, you've let Conor leave the club. Just tell us your thought process behind that.
He is a very talented player. Progress very good last seasons, but we have a lot of competition in a wide area. So we look at what do we need as a squad, but also every player needs a perspective. And in this moment, we had many players to compete in those positions, and then we couldn't give him the right perspective in this club. But I think he's a very good player, high potential. What he needs is games to improve, to progress, and he gets the opportunity at Panathinaikos, and we will follow the process.
Thank you.
Eric, the transfer window is obviously still open. You talk about players maybe coming into Manchester United. Is the players going to be leaving? High-profile players might leave before the end of the window?
I didn't say I'm looking for transfers coming in. I didn't say this. I don't say that players going out. So I said patience. Just for you guys, just wait. When we have news, we will bring it.
Manchester United without 5 key players for Brighton clash amid transfer turmoil. As Manchester United prepares for their first away game of the Premier League season against Brighton this weekend, they find themselves short of key players. The team will be without Victor Lindelof, and no other players are expected to return in time for the match at Amex Stadium. Lindelof has been the subject of transfer speculation, but Erik ten Hag has clarified that the defender is sidelined due to a toe injury, rather than being held out ahead of a potential move. United will also be missing Lenny Yoro, Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia, and Rasmus Højlund for the crucial fixture against Brighton, who impressed with a 3-0 victory in their season opener. When asked about Lindelof's situation and the confusion surrounding his transfer status, Ten Hag responded, "There's no confusion. He has a toe issue. I hope he can return quickly, but he won't be available for the weekend. Tyrell Malacia, Rasmus Højlund, they're also unavailable. Luke Shaw, of course. Joshua Zirkzee is pushing for his first start after scoring off the bench in his debut against Fulham, and Ten Hag believes that this will boost his confidence. Reflecting on last season, Ten Hag compared Xerxes' debut goal to Rasmus Højlund's experience, when Højlund had a goal ruled out by VAR in his Premier League debut and then had to wait until Boxing Day to score his first goal in the league. It's incredibly rewarding for a forward to score in their first game. It gives them confidence, and I'm delighted it happened, Ten Hag said. The comparison with last year, when Rasmus Højlund scored against Brighton but had the goal overturned by VAR after a lengthy review, only to wait 3 more months for his first Premier League goal, shows how important these moments are. It's a boost for both the player and the team.